What's happening, my beautiful people? My name is Mike LaBelle, and today, my friends, we're talking about the top 5 team of the season hidden gems, in my opinion. Not the first, second, or third options when you're looking at these different team of the season leagues or foot items that have been released. Guys that maybe slid under the radar. Sleeper picks, dark horses, however you want to describe it. There are tons of team of the season hidden gems. And of course, it's subjective. This is my list. So I want to see your list in the comments below. Don't just say you disagree. Hidden gems are not just about price, not just about rating. Almost this unexpected value that you receive, and maybe even the quality of hype pushed behind some of these foot items or the releases versus what you get. And we all know team of the season foot items that are released, some of those stats just aren't real. At least I don't believe in them. That's why it's so important to try these foot items out via the weekend league or division rivals. You've got to put in some time with them, because even if the card value says this, it doesn't always mean you get that. Let's talk about it. If you guys know my countdowns, I often like to briefly touch on some honorable mentions. And we're going to start out with KRUSE. If you need a cheaper Bundesliga option, this man coming off the bench or potentially being a starter, it just depends how many coins you have to work with. Where have you allocated your coinage? I don't know if I just appreciated a left-footed player. I used him as a center attacking mid. You can get away with playing him up top. Gets a little more debatable, I would say, as a winger. If you play a 4-1-2-1-2, he could also be one of the center mids, but you'd have to make sure the other center mid was a little more defensive oriented just to balance out the squad. I talk about that so much with squad building. We don't have unlimited bankrolls. Whether it's a content creator, it's your favorite streamer, or if you're even grinding the game throughout the year, you still have restrictions and limitations normally. So you got to do a little bit of some pick and choose. Who can fit where? Where do I invest my resources? I enjoyed using this foot item. He's got good size, 5'11", almost feels 6 foot on the pitch, quick turns. If you unleash a finesse shot, he's got your back. Skill move execution, not an issue, no complaints. And when you're looking at players that just don't get the love, aren't being talked about, on the cheaper side, around 100,000 coins, KRUSE comes up for me. Next up, and I don't want this to be a foreshadowing trend, but there are multiple center mids similar to THIAGO MENDES that are fast. They have the 4-star skill moves, big upgrades for the team of the season versions of these foot items. And I noticed the changes, running rapid in the midfield. It's like you have a bunch of Contes with better shooting stats. All over the pitch, the Brazilian links. The man doesn't get tired. And did I mention that he can shoot from distance? And he does have that Brazilian flair. Like I said, being able to take people on a little bit. Command a presence in the midfield. I will say this, if you play him alongside another holding mid, make sure you got a gladiator. Someone who's got a little more size to work with. Whether it's a Kondogbia, a Ruud Gullit, a Vieira. Someone that has a little more oomph to him, a little thicker, bigger body. Flashback Vidal. You might be pushing it with a flashback Vidal. Preferably someone 6'1" or taller and kind of thick with 2 C's. Last of the honorable mentions, and you might say, Mike, he's so high rated though, how can you put him here? FABIO QUAGLIARELLA, the old man on campus. He shows up and shows out for me. He's not the best striker I use, but he is worth your investment, worth your time. I think you're getting a good price point, around 400,000 coins. Finishing, yes, it's that simple. You don't have to go into details, whether it's a 1v1, outside the box, left foot, right foot, power shot, low driven, finesse shot, chip shot, anything with shooting, yes. And remember, he has the 4-star skill, so you have that creativity, that dynamic ability, whether you use him as a striker or a winger. I played him as both. I think you will prefer him as a striker. You could probably get away with playing as a center attacking mid as well. I don't know that'd be his best role, but it's an option. Obviously gifted with the 1v1s. I wish he felt a little bit bigger on the pitch. I know they list him at 5'11", but he felt 5'11" looking 5'9". Something wasn't there. Maybe it's his aggression stats. He's not going to go up in the air and challenge for you. Not on a regular basis. Don't count on that. Welcome to the top 5. These are not listed in order, but at number 5, we have DePaul. And I actually used DePaul because I was able to get the player pick 99 Messi from the previous team of the season. Therefore, I wanted that Argentinian link up, and I was second guessing myself, thinking, is he going to show up? Is he going to be consistent? Am I really going to get these stats that are on this foot item? They're on the card. but I loved him. They had a couple key moments where he scored one of those goals from distance when you couldn't break through your opponent's back line. Bodies on bodies on bodies, and you hit a screamer and you're able to get the goal that's necessary to push on, or the goal that evens out a match. Money links if you're looking for anything in the Serie A, and then of course that Argentinian connection. 4-star skills, and just gifted to kind of be everywhere on the pitch. Similar to THIAGO, who I talked about in the honorable mentions. I just preferred DePaul, but it's close, it's similar. If you had that flip-flopped, I'm not mad at you. There are a few players that kind of fit this description for team of the season releases, and that's where the subjectivity comes into play. Number 4, ONYEKURU. I won't lie to you, I did not know much about this player whatsoever in terms of his footballing history. One of the biggest surprises, this is a true hidden gem when you're talking about team of the season foot items that you didn't expect to see used. Whether he's a super sub, whether he's a starter, you're getting good value here. He's a difference maker. Reminds me of team of the season Mane, but at such a discounted price. He could do it all. He's rapid, 5'9", 4-star skills, 4-star weak foot, gets in behind, presses the back line. Once he gets loose, if you're using him as a super sub, he's not getting caught, and that's saying something in FIFA 19 where players recover, and recover. Midway point, and probably my favorite of the top 5 when we're looking at number 3 here. And some of you guys might say, Mike, hold on, not hidden. We saw him used in competitive play, but Costa's the real deal. 6'2", and he's still affordable. You're talking about being able to pick up a fullback that's competitively certified or solidified. 300,000 coins. And that's another reason I don't have someone like Militao on my list as a hidden gem. Not because everybody knows about Militao, but you have to spend 900,000 coins. So clearly the word is out, or his stats look too attractive for people to not pick him up. Costa is basically a center back with fullback movement. He's pretty agile. He can get back and forth. Physical presence is almost an understatement. If you have trouble against crosses or even set pieces, pick up Costa. It will be a good investment for you. Super reliable. I can count on him positioning. I can count on him when he's going up against someone like Cristiano Ronaldo or R9. Just the big name players that sneak in on that back post. Ibrahimovic. When you're analyzing fullbacks that can match up well versus the best strikers, the best attackers in a game, on the defensive end, I'm not sure it gets much better than Costa. He's also not a liability with passing. Of course, he doesn't have the skill moves. You can't compare Costa's movement when attacking to someone like Cancelo, who feels like a winger that's just playing as a defender for you, or even a Marcelo for another reference point. But on the defensive end, and I care about clean sheets, I can figure out ways to score goals. At number 2, we have maybe the most improved, even though he is a big name. Bernardo Silva has never been usable, in my opinion, in FIFA 19 until this team of the season variation. So I wanted to give him some love. I wanted to give him some appreciation because he was so lackluster or subpar in terms of his basic gold foot item. It made it where I was like, I'm kind of on the fence. I don't know if this is really going to work, but he's grown on me. He needs to be one of your focal points when you're attacking. He's got to be that classic number 10. Gets a touch and move. He always finds the space, very quick with the turns, agile, through balls, passing, preciseness, all of that. First touch control, guaranteed. He's still not going to be wonderful on the physical side of everything on the pitch, and you shouldn't expect that. He does have a 3-star weak foot, but from playing against him and playing with him, he figures out a way. Kind of crafty. Maneuvers around the defense, maneuvers around the midfield, just finds these little pockets of space. It resembles what makes Bernardo Silva so gifted in real life. EA did a good job with this upgrade because he basically went from unusable to being very playable. Many have introduced him to their starting lineup. And at number 1, and I can't believe I'm saying this, he's still only 100,000 coins. Flat, Bruno Fernandes. And you almost have to play with him or play against him a few times to really believe it. When you look at his stats, they're good, but there's other players that have similar statistics, and they just don't play as good as this Fernandes card. I kind of feel like he's got the juice. It's hard to describe because it's more of something you feel, or even if you're going up against him, you also unfortunately feel his silkiness and his evasiveness and the long shooting. I have conceded some bangers against Bruno Fernandes. As a starter, as a super sub, he just causes problems and havoc. He's not undersized. I wouldn't go as far as saying that he's huge or that he's extra stocky, but he also does not feel small and he does not feel weak. His strength might even be more around an 85. I think they have it listed as 78 or 79. Worth taking into consideration. He's just such a surprise choice, and I kind of feel like that's what the countdown is all about. When you're talking about hidden gems or players that you should try out, this guy would never be on my list. Not because statistically he doesn't look good or that his rating isn't high enough. I don't know if I can figure out a way to get him into a team. Is he really going to be worth it once I insert him into a squad? Should I use him off the bench? A lot of what ifs when I was initially looking at this foot item, but once you introduce him, he gets along with everybody. Put him on the virtual pitch, let him do his thing. Thank me later. Thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure to drop a thumbs up. And let's talk about these top fives in the comments. I know that we're going to agree in some areas and disagree in others, and that's what it's all about. I realize there's been many Team of the Season foot items released, and it's impossible for us to use them all. So this is my list, but I'll have a lot more content come for you ASAP. Peace.